Hello and welcome to Inside the Synod. Now, yesterday was the 50th anniversary of the opening of the Second Vatican Council, and today the celebration continued. Sebastian Gomes has more.
Now you may recognize the hall behind me. It's the Paul VI General Audience Hall, where the Holy Father hosts different visitors, pilgrims who come to see him every Wednesday. It's been temporarily transformed into a banquet hall where the Holy Father will be eating lunch with the Synod Fathers, delegates, and experts later this afternoon. We had this one chance to get a little bit of the footage of the people setting up. You can see that the Holy Father will be at the head table straight ahead of me here. Hopefully we at Salt and Light will get a seat. That's yet to be determined, but we'll be able to let you know come tomorrow. So hopefully we get to participate in this wonderful event.
Now, there was a morning session at the Synod today, and among those who spoke were Bishop Brian Dunn of Antigonish, and he reflected on the challenges of evangelizing people who have been touched by clerical sex abuse and what it means. How do we reach them now that they've lost their faith in the church? He said the church needs to provide opportunities for listening to those who have been hurt and appreciate the depth of their anger and disillusionment. He also said there is a need to change certain structures within the church and to change the mentality and the attitude in the way the clergy works with lay people. He said, when this happens, the gospel will be heard anew and our faith will be passed on more effectively. Archbishop Javier Echevarria Rodriguez, the prelate of Opus Dei, said priests must live the sacraments and their prayer life fully and openly because their example will draw people to prayer and to living out the sacraments, especially reconciliation. He also said priests need to take great care with the doctrinal content of their Sunday homilies because for many people, that homily is the only religious instruction they get. Father Mauro Iori, Minister General of the Capuchin Order of Friars Minor, reiterated that, saying priests are called to place Christ at the center of their lives and they cannot be afraid to openly give witness to him. Along those same lines, His Beatitude Sviatoslav Shevchuk, the major archbishop of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church, also spoke about the importance of the homily, saying Sunday homilies have lost their charismatic aspect, or their ability to really proclaim Christ. The Superior General of the Salesians, Pascual Chavez Villanueva, told the Synod Fathers, one sign of good evangelization is new vocations, and pastors need to create a culture of vocations, and pastoral plans should promote the full variety of vocations, being religious life, married life, priesthood, consecrated life, and a single life that is committed to the society and to work within the church. Bishop Enrico Dal Covolo, rector of the Pontifical Lateran University, said schools of all levels need to be prepared not only to work in synergy with families, but also to step in and fill the void in personal formation that too many people are experiencing. And finally, Archbishop Tartaglia of Glasgow pointed out that Pope Benedict's 2010 visit to England shows that people are still hungering and searching for answers to questions that only Christ can give. Now, our team is on the ground in Rome at the Synod Hall, and they caught up with some of the participants in this Synod of Bishops, and here they are now.
What are some of the themes that are starting to emerge over these first few days?
The gospel of Jesus Christ never can become old-fashioned or overcome because Jesus Christ has come into the world through the incarnation, is always present as a redeemer of the world, and everybody needs the help of God, and therefore we are very hopeful to announce the gospel also to the men and women who are living in the world of today.
I'm here with my husband because we are very involved for 15 years in a great way for parishes to evangelize called the Alpha Course, and we co-chair the Global Catholic Alpha Board. We have worked with, hundreds of thousands of lay people, ordinary lay people, sharing their faith through Alpha. And we have worked with thousands and thousands of parish priests. So we have a working relationship and a dialogue with them. And we have worked with many bishops around the world. So I think we can contribute through the experience we've gained through those relationships.
When people look at the Catholic Church from the outside, very often they see, Rome first, the central authority, and then there's sort of they don't associate the Catholic Church necessarily with this particular parish in my community or this particular diocese, in our area. So what does that tell us about the way we need to work in the world today?
Well, we as Catholics, we need to love the people we are working with at the office, the parents at school of our children's school, and be friends and love them and invite them to explore the meaning of life and discover Christian faith. And it's easy, and the power of the personal relationship, one-to-one, heart-to-heart discussions is absolutely huge. And then we can connect people to our local community. And when they discover the parish, they discover faith, and they discover the Catholic Church, which is universal. And in a global world, I think the Catholic Church has a special appeal. Here at the Synod, you have all the nations, all the continents. We are global. The Catholic Church is global in a global age. Very few human institutions are able to speak to the whole world at the same time. And since the beginning, the Catholic Church has been able to do that.
One of the other themes that you touched on and that's been picked up by a number of people here is in the midst of all these questions, in the midst of all this confusion, there's still room for joy and hope and confidence. So can you talk a little bit about why you see that as being very important to this process and task of new evangelization?
Well, I think one of the characteristics of an evangelist, one of the characteristics of an evangelist is a disciple who wants to share the faith. One of the characteristics is joy. Christ is risen. He is with us. He's provided us a gospel and a way through life. We should be filled with joy. Now, that doesn't mean that life is going to be easy. And it doesn't mean that we're not going to have challenges, tasks, all kinds of things we need to do. But we can face life knowing it makes sense. There's a purpose to all of this. There's a goodness in God being with us and in our responding to God. And we should be able to see in the people around us, in the world around us, in the challenges of each day, a reason to be joyful. God is with us. God speaks to us. And all we have to do is respond, be open to that.
Finally, it's time to find out how the Church is doing around the world. Sebastian Gomes caught up with Cardinal George Pell of Sydney, Australia, to find out what impact World Youth Day had on that country and what challenges the nation faces today.
Cardinal Pell, could you just tell me a little bit about the fruits of the World Youth Day in 2008, and specifically comment on the Stations of the Cross, that initiative. How does that relate to the new evangelization? What has happened since 2008?
The Dominican sisters from Nashville, we invited them before the World Youth Day to help prepare. Now, in the 5 years since, they already have, I think, 10 or a dozen young Australian women who have got to the stage where they're wearing the habit. I doubt if we would have had 10 or 15 vocations to enter into the sisters, to female religious life, right across Australia in the last 20 years. That's one beautiful fruit.
One of the big issues when you talk about evangelization today is the question of religious liberty and religious freedom. There's different contexts of that all around the world. We're dealing with it in a particular way in the United States and in Canada. Is this an issue in Australia as well? And how have you dealt with questions of religion?
It is an issue everywhere in the English-speaking world. I was delighted in the United States they had the fortnight for freedom, religious freedom. There were attempts in Australia to introduce a Bill of Rights. We, or myself and a number of a whole other set of people, resisted that. I very much believe in human rights, but I believe that this Bill of Rights would be used to stop us speaking publicly on important moral issues. For example, it would crib and confine our religious freedom. The Parliament did not accept this proposal for a Bill of Rights, and we have not suffered the constraints that have been imposed in both Canada and England. What is important, I think, is to continue to speak out on these issues and to insist that we're not looking for exemptions from this rule or that. We're looking to assert our fundamental rights to the practice of religion, not just in the sanctuary, but to teach in our schools and to teach publicly. At the university, a young atheist lady asked very pleasantly, why I had any right to be speaking out. Why did she have to listen to me? And I said, well, am I to be the only person in Australia who doesn't have a right to free speech? And I said, we can only propose. We can't impose anything on anyone. So it's an important issue. I hope at the Synod we will say something about it, not just about our persecuted brothers in the Middle East and in Africa and in Asia, but about the struggle for the freedom of religious expression in the English-speaking world.
And that's it for this time. Join us again next week as we continue to bring you a look inside the Synod. For our team in Rome, I'm Alicia Ambrosio. Thank you for watching.